We have our friends from 3AP in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
We have our friends from 3AP in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the YouTube video works for me.
Still says it's unavailable. Maybe it's here in Russia. It's blocked or something.
I think I might just get some feedback from Dario. Also says it's unavailable.
It's a different link. It works if you go via the Apaleo channel. I've just sent out a new link too.
In the chat?
Yeah, in the chat for the panelists.
So can you send it in this chat here? Oh, you did, or?
Yeah.
Right.
Are we live or what, Nick?
Yes, I think we're live.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Funst.
The Zoom chat.
So our friend Martin says we are live.
We are.
Perfect.
Yeah. He did, Stefan. Check it out. Yeah.
Is there any channel, Slack channel for us to synchronize during the meeting? Should we use the Panda Club?
Perfect. I think if you want internally, we can communicate via the Slack channel. If not, I would recommend that we are starting, as we have already around 53 attendees live on Zoom, and yeah, I'm sure there's a few more on YouTube Live, and there's a few more coming in. So I'll just quickly jump in and start the event. So welcome everybody to the award ceremony of the DEVrupt Hospitality Hackathon. I'm Florian Montag, your host for today. And before we jump into the exciting part, presenting the different projects and what has been accomplished in this hackathon, and while we're still waiting for a few attendees to join, make sure that YouTube works, I will quickly introduce myself and also highlight a few housekeeping aspects. So for the people who don't know me yet, I'm the co-founder of Hotel Hero, an online platform for hotel software, helping hoteliers to find the right software for their hotel. And that's why I'm really excited to be part of this initiative today and be able to host the award ceremony, as I love to see new innovation in the hospitality space. So a few housekeeping aspects before we start is that we're planning a 60-minute event where we will present the different projects, where the different members of Apaleo, Limehome, and everybody who is behind the scenes of this event will also present a few elements. And then we'll have an open Q&A for around 30 minutes where other projects can be presented also, but also just if you have any further questions. If you want to actively participate in the event and ask questions, I would recommend to not use the YouTube Live link, but register via Zoom so that we are sure that we can see your questions and be able to interact. However, we are also keeping an eye on the YouTube Live link. I will be in charge of keeping track of all questions, and I will also collect them, and we'll take the time at the end, as I mentioned, to discuss them. And during the presentations, we will kind of keep it without open Q&A. If you have please write a comment already in our comment box, maybe a quick hello, and tell us where you're tuning in from, so that we know that everything works, and we see where everybody is from. The event will be recorded and shared to all registered attendees. So if you're on YouTube Live and you want to also afterwards watch the event again, you can see that on YouTube, or you can go on devrupt-hospitality.com and register to the newsletter, so you're sure that you will also receive the full recording via email, and many new updates for upcoming hackathons and events. And of course, you can reach out to all of us speakers who are in the event today, and via LinkedIn, and just connect or ask any questions, maybe also about the new exciting projects. Maybe there's something so great that you directly want to see how you can implement it in your hotel. We will now start with a short introduction from the organizers of this amazing hackathon, telling us more about why they started the initiative, how the hackathon worked, and what the results were. This will be done by Vasily, who's the CTO from Apaleo, Stefan Wiesner, also from Apaleo, and then Alex from Limehome. We will then take around 10 to 15 minutes to present each project of the 3 finalists, and then Vasily will have the honor to be presenting the winners of this hackathon. So without further ado, let's get started. Vasily, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Florian. Hi, everyone. Why we did that, this is a really good question. This is the first time when we do something like that, and we have been building a Apaleo platform to be developer friendly, and we focused previous year to release the developer portal. We released the GitHub discussions. We did implemented the self-service management for API clients, enhanced several APIs like webhooks and Apaleo UI integrations. So we tried to focus on the developers' experience when they work with our platform. And once we did that, we wanted to invite people around the world to try that out. So it's not always you do stuff and you would like to see it in action, right? You would like to see the feedback from people. And we knew that there are people out there with the really great ideas, but they couldn't implement them because in the hospitality industry, there was no such open platform. Now you can easily actually get access to API in a self-service manner, spend a couple of days of coding, and you have your idea brought to life. And the results that we got from that hackathon and that you will see later today just prove that. And we see that not only, we also saw that the audience that might be interested in this event is very diverse. So it's not only the developers or app developers where they have some great idea of the app and they can implement it, but it also for the existing businesses. So we see an examples where there's a company, they do business in another industry. Now suddenly they would like to enter the hospitality market, right? And that's what the case with one of our participants. Also hotels, if they're tech driven, they can also take advantage of the API, and we see them participating in this. So the audience is very diverse. And now if we see that like if we take the platform as such, it's very becomes very interesting for app developers, because we take care of the platform, running the platform. We take care of bringing more hotels and rooms on board, and you as a developer, you can actually get access to all those thousands of units for free. So you can suddenly enter this area and see people using your application. And we actually see that how 100% of our users they use some apps because they need them, and also 32%, for example, of our customers use custom apps. This is those tech-driven hoteliers that have really great ideas how they can leverage API, build some ETL pipelines, build the automation, things like that. And this was the main goal of the hackathon. Invite everyone to give it a try, see how easy it is, and how you can be creative and actually make a business. And yeah, and now I will hand it over to Alex, and he will explain how the story behind the hackathon, how it ran, and how it all happened.
Thank you, Vasily. By the way, I'm Alex from Legiano Mamino. We are one of the Apple's partners that built a lot of nice things thanks to their open APIs. We integrate a lot with them. And how did it work? It was really easy. So we had a registration, and the 1st of March, who registered for the hackathon received an email with the Slack channel that was the main communication layer for the participants. So on Slack, we created different channels with the topics. So we have different topics from the automation, from the customer journey, or ETL. Any kind of cool idea was categorized. And then also Slack was used for the main conversation between the participants. So they could keep the conversation on Slack. They could ask to the moderator to validate the project. And from there, they could also build up teams for people that were mainly alone and without a group of people to collaborate with. That I think was quite clear and easy to use. And I guess that's all about how did we organize it. Now I think that Stefan, will tell you more about the judging process, and I will discuss who was the winner.
Yes, hi, thanks for the microphone. Yeah, so there is a judge because a hackathon, there are a lot of contributions. We had a big amount of registrations, and finally we have to make a decision. What are the finalists of all that? And we have 4 guys in the judge. Alex, you are one of them. You are the CTO of Limehome, actually a pretty cool hospitality company. Whenever you have the opportunity to stay with them, do that. Modern hospitality companies are often VC-funded tech companies with their own development team. And as Alex said, they are one of the guys who actually also develop applications for their own hotel business. Then we have Julianne De Marie in the jury. He is risk officer at Adyen. So what is that? Apart from being also one of our sponsors, he actually helps hoteliers in that case or other merchants to deal in a secure way with Adyen payments. So they are a payment service provider. So they talk to hoteliers about PSD2, about fraud detection, about prevention of any abuse. And he has more than 10 years experience on that. And I think he's also interested, he was interested to see what payment related things are amongst the contributions. And there were quite a few. Then we have Legiano Mamino on the jury, and he's a real tech guy. He's a senior architect with 4Theorem, a consulting company, and a few of you might know him, or even many might know him as being a co-author of a very well-known book, Node.js Design Patterns, which is pretty famous in the industry. And last but not least, it's me in the jury. Like Vasily, one of the co-founders of Apaleo, I'm an engineer and entrepreneur. I love tinkering, but also creating sustainable and scalable businesses. And we are the provider of the technology platform of the API first hospitality platform for this hackathon. Maybe a few words how we judged all the contributions, and it definitely was a pretty difficult process because there was a lot. So we decided to have 3 criteria. We want impact, workability, and creativity. Impact means there should be some technology that really is relevant for the industry, that solves an industry problem, that improves hoteliers or guests' lives significantly. Then second thing, it should work. So we want to see some technology that really works and not only a concept or an idea or a design. And last but not least, creativity. We would love to see real innovation, something that really makes our industry, the hospitality industry, better. And we all know the industry has deserved it after all that difficult time. So we talked to the team as the juries, we looked at the live demos, we played around with these solutions because they are all running. You can really work with them. You can play with them. We even looked into the source code, and we had several rounds of discussions. And now I'm actually very proud to announce, not the winner, that would be a big problem if I did this now, but to announce the finalists and to hand over to the first finalist, Wirelane, to the team of Chris Blättermann, Bastian Konecki, and Andreas Grundler, who actually connect electric cars to hoteliers using the Apaleo platform. Microphone handover, please.
Yeah, perfect. Chris, you can unmute yourself. As Stefan just said, our first finalist, Wirelane. Wirelane is a full-service electromobility provider, bringing both reliable hardware and smart software together. You guys, with your charging stations and simple payment system, are making electromobility easier and work smoothly. Can you maybe quickly introduce us to what problem you solved during the hackathon? And in the background, we will start the video or prepare that.
Sure thing. Thank you, Florian. Yeah, we as Wirelane full service provider in the electric mobility space, we want to ease the pain customers have when paying for charging sessions. And especially in the hotel industry, we want to offer this charging experience as an integrated service, just like any other hotel services that you know. Let's have a look at the video.
Amazing. Chris, not only the music was great, but also the video and the use case really showing a seamless process. Could you maybe describe for the not so much electromobility experts in the hotel industry what makes this solution different and what you really brought out through this hackathon?
Sure. I mean, starting with the point that we as Wirelane not only offer the software services, but also the hardware. These are our charging stations that we can put into any hotel and just offer an incredibly great integrated charging experience. Usually the customer has to fiddle around with different RFID cards, maybe with some kind of credit card, and he then receives the invoices for the charging sessions through different channels. And we thought that especially for business customers, but in general for all hotel guests, it would be such a great experience if you could just pull up to the charging station and authenticate yourself with an information that you already have. For example, a booking number, could be your email address, date of birth, etc. And during your stay, you don't really think about this charging experience much. You plug it in, you scan the code, you put in the information, you start the charging session. You can do this multiple times, and at the end of the day, when you check out from the hotel, you receive the invoice, which lists all of your charging sessions on this invoice. And better yet, this whole system is already Eichrechtskonform. So in Germany, there's a specific law for this, and we made sure to cover this as a whole.
Yeah, it's definitely important that it's Eichrecht transformed so that you can, as a hotel, really build the electricity you're charging your customers. Can you maybe give us a quick introduction to why you actually participated in a hackathon, as Wirelane is already quite an established startup in the industry, and also maybe what you expected to get out of it?
Yeah, I think just like Apaleo, Wirelane is a very innovative company, and we try to push ideas forward and also try to make things happen outside of the daily business. And here we gathered as a team of 3, just as introduced in the beginning, and we came up with this idea, and we thought, okay, hey, let's take the time to figure out how far we actually come in this process. And yeah, I received an email from Stefan. And that was just a perfect timing. So we thought, okay, let's take this idea and put this into the hackathon. Of course, puts a bit of pressure onto our side, but nevertheless, I think we managed to do this, and we actually only used 2 weeks from idea to prototype instead of the whole 1 month that was originally thought about for the hackathon.
That sounds like a crazy timeline. What were your challenges in this timeline? Not just time, but yeah, what were your challenges? And also, are there any key takeaways which you're taking out of this hackathon?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge to start with is, of course, making sure that the user journey is just spot on. Yeah, this is where we invested a lot of time of these 2 weeks to really make sure that we understand all of the touch points the customer has with the charging device, the charging station, what kind of information needs to be exchanged in the back end, and really just to get this user experience spot on. I think this is the biggest challenge, and we've been in talks with hotels about this. We received great feedback when we piloted this, or when we are piloting this from hotels, and we're actually looking at the first field test with the MA7 that you've seen in the video here in Munich quite soon. But I can tell you what was not the biggest challenge, and that was integrating with the Apaleo API, because really it was so easy. That was probably the thing that we had to worry about the least.
That's amazing. It's not something which you hear every day in the hospitality industry, that connecting to the PMS is the easiest aspect of the challenge. But amazing. Chris, thank you very much. If there's any questions from the audience, we will have you answer them at the end of the webinar. Amazing. Perfect. So I will give over directly to the second finalist, which is Stefan Wölfinger and the Leihwand locks.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Stefan. I'm from Leihwand Lock and some other companies. I come from the hotel industry. We also have 3 hotels in Vienna, and I've prepared a little video to showcase what I've done. I was wondering if there's a better solution for hotel room access than these old school physical keys. Where do you have access control without the need for physical key in the travel journey? What medium to choose which is digital but can also be physical? Is there already a process in the travel journey the guest knows how to use? Of course, QR codes. That's brilliant. After learning a little bit about electronics, I hacked together a proof of concept prototype to test if this will work. It should be simple, cheap and smart. After I verified my concept, I hired a professional electronics lab to develop a more professional version. As a smart and modern locking system also needs a modern PMS, I hacked together a connector app to Apaleo. I really love the open API approach and how easy it was to connect to Apaleo. For the guest, it's now easy to be 100% self-serviced. Just make the booking, the hotel assigns the room and checks in the guest, or even smarter, do a self-check-in via code to order. Then the guest receives his digital room key and enters the room as easy as boarding a plane. If the guest likes to change the room, the QR code keeps the same. The front desk officer only needs to assign a different room in Apaleo, and a few seconds later the guest can enter the new room. In Vienna we say Leihwand if something is cool, so it's called Leihwandlog.
Yeah, that's my project. My project was not only developing Leihwandlog. Leihwandlog was developed last year, but to connect Leihwandlog to Apaleo via app. I've already connected Leihwandlog before for our hotel as a custom application, a custom connector. But I thought after being invited also by Stefan to the hackathon, it would be nice to make it a standalone app. And my first app, which will be soon launched in the Apaleo App Store. I'm coming from hotel industry, hospitality, not from the beginning. I was a software developer and business consultant for 12 years. 2018, I entered the hospitality industry and then quickly became CTO and responsible for digitalization. And after changing one of our old logs myself and looking at the electronics and looking at the expensive invoice, I thought I can do it better. So I started developing my own logging system because I haven't found anything that's cheap, smart, live, and has all the requirements I would like to have.
I have a question for you, Stefan. How does it work, the QR code? What are you storing?
The QR code is very simple. It's only the reservation number, so it's an MD5 hash, so not everyone can read it easy, but it's an MD5 hash consisting of the reservation ID and the customer's email address.
I ask you, what kind of hardware are you using for your logs?
From a logs
controller in there.
The controller of the logs on the back side, there is sitting Raspberry Pi Zero, so a very cheap full Linux computer, and the electronics on the front and the middle are custom made. The power is coming over Ethernet, which is the only cable coming into the device. I don't need any other cables, and the log can control standard 12 volts electromagnetic door opener. I'm also working on controlling other locking system, mechanical locking system via servo motors. So I'm very flexible and still developing and evolving.
But that would mean, so once you want to launch that on the Apaleo App Store, you would also deliver logs to other hotels,
yes,
right? Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say it's my favorite project. After seeing all that, I like so much this when hardware and software comes together, and when you do it yourself, it's amazing. Okay.
Very good. Shall we
continue?
move on to the next finalist? And this is DataSpire from Yuan and his team. You are based in Singapore at the moment. Part of the team is in Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh City. I think that's where you currently have dialed in. And you have done something based on AI that helps hoteliers to predict high-value guests, to predict VIPs, even though they haven't put a footstep into the hotel yet, right? And we all know how difficult that is. Hotels do a lot to know their guests. They collect data and all this thing, but obviously you can identify such a guest already before they even stepped into the hotel. So maybe explain us a bit and show us how that works.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you very much, Stefan. Yeah. So let me quickly show a demo. Let me share my screen. Right, so have been playing a lot with data, and hotel industry have a ton of data they have been produced like daily, and especially during COVID time, we just wonder how we can help hotel to prepare for the recovery. Right, so with Hackathon, DEVrupt, then we decided, why don't we try to create something and we give hotel free tools, and they can leverage on this one and help them with better email marketing, or help them to identify who are the most valuable guests they should focus the effort on. So using limited resources, but deliver best customer experience. So we're creating Data Spotlight Lite. Let me click demo, just click authorize. So we integrated with Apaleo API. I will just quickly log in. Choose the account. So what happens, we're able to pull data, we're able to predict perform data for all the hotels. So in this case, let me just pick one hotel for speed. So Munich, just start AI processing. So what happened at the behind the scene that we calling reservation API from Apaleo, preparing information and then able to pass over to prediction model. We build a few model, guest segmentations, customer lifetime value classification model, and also a VIP guest prediction model. Right. So during this time, those model is working behind the scene, and within a few minutes, I think you're able to see the result. All right, so it's ready. So this quickly dashboard represents how many records have been processed so far. So in Munich hotel, we have 1,300 records. And with those records, we have 570 identifiable guests. Right? Those are the actual guests that we have identified. And then among those who are our VIP guests, in this instance, we have 40 VIP guests, the one paying the most. Right? So, or they have other factor. For the hotelier, what they can benefit on this, they can quickly download the results. It's actually in the form of CSV file where they can see details and taking the information about the guest, and they can do better email marketing or do any other objective or other strategy. Right? So what we have here is just filter out. For example, I just want to get out a list of returning guests. CLV class, 1 meaning low, 2 is medium, and 3 are the one we're interested in. Those are high value guests. Right? The third column here, low, mid, high, represented the percentage score of how confident this model predict this guest. So in this case, we can see all of these guests are considered high value and should focusing on. Right? For example, we take this person, Hugo, and just quickly log in into Apaleo. And we can try to pull out their profile. Right? And we see why the model say they are high value. So in this instance, we can see that these guests have about 5 bookings, and they're spending quite a major average booking is quite high. So this is an example. So yeah, then the hotel can very easily focus the effort on these guests rather than the entire hotel database. Okay.
And
yeah,
you can predict that, right? I mean, of course, not only looking backwards and seeing this guest has spent a lot, but you can predict this for a guest that haven't been in the hotel yet. I think that's correct. The magic part there.
Yeah, that's correct. So with the prediction coming, so on the moving reservation coming in, this can also go through the reservation, go through a prediction model. And if they are fall under so-called potential VIP guests, what we have here, potential VIP guests, are the one that first time booker, but have the same data pattern with no VIP guests for the first reservation. And we're able to flag them and say, hey, you may have a potential VIP, you want to entertain them or do special treatment.
So what are your criteria on identifying those? I mean, there is a learning model behind that, but on what kind of, where do you pay attention to when you analyze, when you learn?
Right. So there's a few ways for us. The way we do it now, we follow.
Some communication problems.
I think we lost the connection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
give him a minute to come back.
It's the last project, so we can't just jump
Yeah,
to
and
the next project.
the cable between him and me is really long.
I hope it's not AI.
When he was explaining how it works, he's a secret guy.
I think AI became alive, and it's like, no, you're not going to tell it.
But that's when you do a live event, you need to be open for some technical difficulties.
Let's wait a few minutes to see if he's able to reconnect.
Do you have any questions maybe from the audience in during the part for Chris or Stefan for Wirelane or Live Unlocks in the meantime, or all the judges and organizers? Do you maybe have some more questions for Chris and Stefan in the meantime?
Maybe I can say a few things still to for DataSpire. Yeah. So Yui also wants to publish the app, wants to publish it on the store, and it seems to be in a status where hoteliers could actually start using that. I would like to ask him, hopefully he's coming back now, what his further roadmap is on that, because he has some other ideas how he wants to move on with the project.
Yeah, if you want, there's one question for the logs, which we can quickly. Oh, perfect. Dai is back.
Yui, we lost you a bit ago. I can't remember exactly on which word, but I think you were explaining how you learn. Yes, how the learning works.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I should have sprayed to the demo god. So what we're saying that we are using the data feature that we're using is a recency, monetary, and also frequency, meaning how much they spend, how often they spend, and when was the last time they spend, and other feature engineering tool that identify our and creating scoring metrics to able to perform the base model, right? What we have is we create the base model because we understand that not all hotel will have sufficient data and a short amount of time to build a model for their hotel. So with this hackathon, we want to create something that generic, but yet beneficial to a common hotel, let's say. And with this base model, we have tested, and the accuracy quite good that we have achieved 99.7%. And I think it should be ready for testing with Apaleo Hotel.
I have one question for around the learning process. So does each and every hotel learn from the scratch, or can do they profit from the learnings from other hotels? So is your system learning from client to client and getting better, or each hotel starts from zero?
So for the scope of this hackathon, we create a base model. So we're not taking data from other hotel. What hotel can benefit now is using the base model that we created and just perform prediction. Right? They will submitting their data, reservation data, and then the model will predict and tell them which guest they should focus on. Of course, for hotel that really interested, they should have their own model built just for their entire hotel.
And
right.
I mean,
we know
you used Apaleo for the hospitality part of your application. I mean, Apaleo provides all the boring stuff that nobody wants to develop anymore, right? Reservations, rates, prices, restrictions, policies, invoices, and all this. But for the AI part, which is the exciting part here, did you use any standard tools or platforms?
No, for this case, because we want to have the mindset to open source it, right? So for the community to also benefit, so we create everything from scratch.
Okay. Did you use it with some hotels already in the meantime, or did you test that out with real data?
Not yet. But surprisingly, that I have other people from another industry and asking whether can they replicate for finance industry, like predicting the high value paying customer.
So any hotel listening, just address Yui afterwards, or go to the store in a bit, and you can connect it directly to your Apaleo account and try it out.
There are a couple of questions I see coming from the audience to that project. One, for example, can you consider other data source like social media, followers, etc., to identify VIP guests?
Yep, definitely. So currently for this one, we take reservation data from our Paleo when we do AI study and we want to identify the possible data source we can use, but definitely can hook in the additional one to make it more accurate.
Then there is a nice one, a very common one. How can you identify recurring guests who come over different channels and maybe don't have a unified merged profile, which is a very old industry problem?
All right, so very interesting question. So what we did that, the first thing we do was guest segmentation. Right? So we cover them on, the easy way to try to explain here that we make them on become numeric and put them under the matrix and we cluster them. So which dot nearer to each other did they consider the same group, right? So imagine now that you have the base model with the data source we have built that this group A, high value guest, and if different data source come in and their cluster belong to very close to the first group, we also consider them as the valuable customer.
Yeah, you could also use the Apaleo profile API, which some other CRM that might also be connected to this hotel account might have done the deduplication for you already. So that would be the other alternative. And then there was a question again, I think I asked that before, what kind of, are you using TensorFlow or something? Is there any learning reasoning framework or you did everything from the scratch?
We did everything from scratch.
Oh, nice. Interesting.
The way the detailed write-up we have created and shared in the GitHub. You can freely and block it and you can play with it.
Yeah.
But again, our team will continue to curate and also further development in this. But we think it should be able to further improvement for other hotels to use.
Yeah. Maybe just again, one comment also to the audience in case somebody's interested how that all works. From the DEVrupt, from the Hackathon page, you can access the projects and the GitHub repositories. You can actually look into the source code, how they did that for all the projects, the API calls they made and all these things. Right. If there are no further questions for DataSpire, then shall we move on?
There was one question to the log system. I don't know if do you want to maybe step?
We have the open Q&A at the end. Maybe we can keep that because there's some more coming in, but also to everybody listening, please share questions now so that afterwards in the Q&A session we have some questions to discuss where we can also go maybe a bit more into detail.
Is it time to announce?
So, who is the winner?
Yeah, so I think it's time to finally announce that. Yeah, as Stefan said, we spent quite some time to try to select winners. It was a challenging one. Yeah. We had a lot of discussions and so on. But after all, we make up our mind. And so the third place goes to Live and Log. Congratulations. This is really cool.
Thank
project,
you.
Still my favorite one. Second place goes to Wirelane. Congratulations with that. Hey. And the first place goes to Azure, the DataSpire with their guest identification project. Congrats. Maybe do you want to say a couple of words?
Yeah. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yeah, I think DEVrupt was very great and like allow us to give back and how we can help the hotel community, the hotel industry, and also how we as a dev team able to curate and create more dev for the hotel, development for the hotel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you to all the contributors.
Well done.
Yeah, and also sorry, thank you to the team. Also, I have a team of 5, not just only me. They follow the stream.
Yeah, actually, Wirelane and DataSpire, you guys have actually teams behind it. So it wasn't a single person projects, but was a collaboration and the teamwork. And that's what I also enjoyed during this hackathon. We also have other projects that we actually liked, but yeah, they didn't end up being winners. But there are also other teams actually want to like team with the 5 or 6 people. It was great to see how developers can join, organize a team, brainstorm, and work together.
I think it was also great to see the speed. What can they deliver in only 2 weeks or 3 weeks of work?
Exactly.
Impressive. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, now I think it's time for Q&A session. So we'll hand over to Florian.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Vasily. And yeah, congratulations, Dewey and your team, but also, of course, Chris and Stefan. It's amazing projects. And what I really like or love about this is that, yeah, as you guys already mentioned, it's launched very fast, a few weeks of development, and that there are real use cases for the hospitality industry that directly people can start using it. We have also Felix Koch, who's here today, who's also been part of the hackathon, but actually would like to present a new project which he has not been doing in the hackathon itself, but would like to take the opportunity. So in a time where Felix will present his project, if everybody who still has questions, you can send them over in the chat, and we will then go to a final to the Q&A round with Felix, Stefan, Chris, and Dewey, and of course Vasily, Alex, Stefan, myself will all be here. Felix, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, I'm Felix. I'm a web developer from near Hamburg, and congratulations to the winners. Actually, my project was a project in the hackathon, and thank you for the opportunity to present it here. My goal was to make the data stored in Apaleo, reservations and folios accessible for business intelligence solutions. So no matter if you use Tableau or Microsoft Power BI, the data must be retrieved from a compatible data source. So I chose Snowflake as a data source for the Power BI solution. Snowflake is a cloud data platform or cloud data warehouse in which you can collect, aggregate, link, and analyze business data from various other sources. So in my project, I initially copied all the data from Apaleo to Snowflake, and then I continuously updated the data via the webhooks API. And then I showed in my project how you can access the Apaleo data and build revenue management KPIs yourself in Power BI, and how you can create appealing visuals. In addition, I showed that Power BI can derive data-driven insights using artificial intelligence from your data from Apaleo. And you have, for example, Power BI can answer questions using your Apaleo data with a Q&A chatbot. So this is really cool. But one learning was that Power BI works even better with an Azure SQL database. So I'm currently developing an app that will allow you to export all your Apaleo data to an Azure SQL database. And this app will be ready in a few weeks, and then I will put this app in the Apaleo App Store, and you can start analyzing your Apaleo data just with a click on the Connect button in the Apaleo App Store. So please get in touch with me if you are interested in this topic.
Amazing! Another real life project coming to the Apaleo App Store. Nice to see that there's a aggregation of new innovation there. Alex, Vasily, Stefan, do you have a question for Felix and his project?
Yeah, I might have one. And I think if I'm not wrong, Felix, correct me, but you just started with the subject matter of BI actually within that hackathon, right? So you're not an experienced BI architect from your history, from your past, but you just started digging into the whole subject matter within the hackathon, if I understood you correctly.
Yes, that's right. We both had a phone call, Stefan and me, and he said, let's try something with the BI solutions. And then I looked into the possible options, and I opted for Microsoft Power BI, but I also think every other BI solution like Tableau, or there are some others in the market, are possible too. So the main thing is that you need a compatible data source to start analyzing your data. I'm not an expert, but I have to say it's really easy to get into this topic with one of these tools, especially Microsoft Power BI.
Any other questions on that or around the other winners finalists?
We have a few questions in the chat, and we'll start with the order, with the first one from Kirsten Molle to Stefan Wölflinger to Leiwandlocks. I love the name, by the way. The question is, if the QR code is using the customer booking reference and email address, how does the system work for the internal users, such as housekeeping?
Yeah, thanks for the question. There's someone thinking beyond in how to use it in the hotel. So the guest is using the QR code with the camera, and for the staff, we have built an NFC reader here. So you will have an NFC card or NFC chip for the staff to enter the room.
Perfect. So they don't need a specific mobile device; they can also just do it via card.
Yes.
Great. So let's start with the next question, also with you, Stefan. It's from Jérôme Caillet, asking when you will commercialize this app. This is a question to all three. But yeah, Stefan, maybe you can tell us what's the timeline.
I tried to develop it a little bit further. For the hackathon, I made the UI, so the user interface of my app, which is only used to set up everything, to connect every system, and also to set up the emailing, to have it functional, but not really beautiful. I tried to improve the UI, improve some more functionalities, and I think in the next month I will be ready to have it launched on the App Store. I have several other projects for my hotel, so I am not full-time developing only this project, but if it's more interest from hoteliers, I will push the priority of this project.
So for all hoteliers here, please directly, if you're interested, directly DM Stefan and tell him that you want his project in your hotel. Chris, how's it for you at Wirelane? Are you guys this new element of the project, of the product innovation? Are you have it live in one property? Will you roll that out also to other properties?
Definitely, yeah. We're in talks with a couple of properties. And we want to roll this out in the upcoming weeks to more and more hotels.
Perfect. How about you, Dewey?
So for me, for Dataspire Lite, as you can see from the name Lite, the Lite version, we really purely want to contribute to the community, free to use for the hotel, and we will publish into Apollo store as well. So hotel in Apollo can use for free. For the commercialized version, we do have a full version where we actually a data scientist platform. We allow hotels to actually build AI model based on their own data, proprietary data, and their own proprietary model. And then they can get more their differentiation between them and their competitor, which for us is commercialized in June this year.
June, perfect. And Felix, you said next month you will launch it in the App Store.
Yes, and yesterday I rolled out the first version for one hotel chain, and the next step will be to make it App Store ready.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. We have a few questions for you, Dewey, with DataSpire. First from Martin Rehns, who's asking if if your AI is based on neural networks or supervised learning.
The light version is not based on neural network. It's not this machine learning, not deep learning. It's only because we built from scratch using library like sketchy-learn and pandas. But the commercial version using deep learning and neural network.
Perfect. We have directly 2 more questions for you. Is there a process by which hotel operators can provide input/data that improves your models? From Richard Sanchez.
Yeah. So relearning process. So before I go to that, we further enhance the light version to allow to accept CSV upload. So hotel can also upload additional data source to do further prediction. For the retraining to improve the model, yes, we may have another channel section to allow hotel to provide more data, so we can have to improve the light-based model. But the base model for light version supposedly have to be shared and across the whole hotel they want to use.
Amazing. It's amazing to see so many specific questions, as it really shows the interest from the audience. Dewey, another question from you again, from Kirsten Molle. Do you take a feed from the revenue management modeling, i.e. are there factors such as occupancy rates and length of stay during busy periods that can be taken into account?
Yeah. So for the light model, the data we take from Apaleo reservation already have rates and also length of stay. Right? We don't take occupancy rate at the moment, but that can be added. Yeah.
A question here for Chris saying, asking, is it possible to reserve a charging station prior to the stay, so that I can obviously make sure that there is a place for me to charge the car?
Yeah, that is a feedback that we also received from the hotels, and this is something that we are thinking about how to integrate this. You can imagine that there is also the physical world which we have to solve as well. So as the same rules pretty much apply to as you would be reserving a parking lot. But of course, if you reserve the charging station, you also have to reserve the parking lot next to it. And this is something where we're looking into as we speak.
Then I have another one is, are hotels considering to include the charging into the room rates?
They do have the option. So the hotel is completely free to pick whatever price they want, and they do so using our back office. And they have the full control over which kind of group can charge at which rate. So they can set up rates for guests. They can have day visitors that they have maybe a different charging or pricing for. And also employees can theoretically, of course, charge for free.
Perfect. I have also a few more questions for Stefan for Live and Log. Have you developed a user log activity report? So checking entry and exit times, date, users, etc.
Yes, that's a good question. LiveandLog currently consists as itself by 2 components. The lock, the locking unit, which is in the wall next to the door, and the server. Standalone server, which is communicating with the logs and managing the QR codes. And also every log is sending status information, the health information every 10 seconds to the server. So I can see the health informations, the temperature of the computer inside, of the temperature measurement probes we have inside. And also if the log is now open, the log is closed, when was the log last active by movement, when was the last QR code scanned, and also on every QR code I can log when was the last opening, the last scan, also to ensure that if a guest is calling the front office, my QR code doesn't work, I can see is he on the right spot at the right lock at the right room, and maybe this QR code of the guest was scanned by another lock. I was also thinking about some fancy stuff I can do, like if a QR code is scanned on a wrong lock and the right lock is on the same floor, I can let the right lock light up, so he knows where to go.
Locks, right? So
yeah, talking locks.
Raspberry Pi, just add a bit of a speaker and the lock.
Yes.
The guest, you are one floor too low, right? Go up.
Yes.
That's good for the people coming home or to the hotel very late at night after spending too much time in the bar, maybe. Stefan, I have a second question. What happens? Is it more complementary, your QR code lock, or to the normal lock system, or how do you solve it if, for example, a guest has no more battery on their phone?
If a guest has no more battery on the phone, we installed at our 100% self-service properties where no reception is and no stuff 24/7 is, we will have a printer. So if the guest has a problem, he can enter on the screen his name and his reservation information to authenticate it's the guest itself. And then next to it, a simple printer to print out the QR code. And about the question if it's complementing, we have one building where we have only Live and Lock as a locking system, and we have one floor of another building where we have Live and Lock, and for testing also still our old locking system. So you have on the door your slot for your magnet card, and next to the door in the wall I have my Live and Lock. It's a different approach. These magnet locks and the locks which are mounted at the door are unlocking at the door, and my Live and Lock is unlocking at the door frame. So it can be used both.
Perfect. That's great for the ones who are in transition phase, so to say, to mobile keys. There's another one for you, Stefan. How's the lock nested into a true touchless purchase and arrival, stay, departure process to optimize the customer journey?
At our case, like I also mentioned in the presentation, one of our properties is 100% self-serviced. So I can go there, pick my smartphone, make a reservation, payment online directly, check in via code to order for online check-in, sign the data at the phone, and just seconds later my locking system will send the QR code to the guest, and the guest can enter the room. We have it live for one of our properties, and the few guests we can welcome in these times are absolutely happy about how everything works.
That's great to hear. Also, always that there's use cases and guests like it. I think that's also going to be very interesting to see when the markets open again and all the hotels will fill up. I think there's going to be a much higher acceptance for mobile key, etc. We're already 5 minutes above the initial hour. At the moment, I don't see any specific questions. I don't know, Stefan, Vasily, Alex, if you guys have other questions, if you received other questions. Yeah, so we're open in an open conversation.
I mean, I only have one thing. Stefan, as you have, I think, a Raspberry Pi in each and every lock, you have quite a lot of computing power there. So I think you could do quite some fancy stuff with the locks as well. You have the camera in there. Did you have some fantasies what still could be done with this kind of powerful locks?
We have had discussions exactly about this. I've chosen Raspberry Pis because at the time I came up with the idea inventing my own lock. I was tinkering a little bit at home with my son, which is 9 years old, building a little bit moving robot and teaching him how to program such a robot. And I had a Raspberry Pi at hand, and I was really astonished how cheap and powerful these devices are. And that's why I chosen a Raspberry Pi with a full Linux operation system and lots of GPIOs to control. My boss likes to control in the future the climate, the air conditioner for every room, and also control if windows are opened or not. I don't have a real camera in there. It's just a QR code module, which is specialized in just reading QR codes, so I can't see the customers going in and out. Of course, every floor where I have Leland locks installed is video surveilled for security reasons. If someone likes to mess around with my system, he's recorded, video recorded. Also, I have a manipulation monitoring system in here, so I know if someone is trying to manipulate my lock, and then an alarm goes off. The front office desk is getting an email with the live stream of the video camera where the lock is can be seen. There are some fantasies, yes, like we are a hotel, hostel, and also have dormitories. We often have big school classes, and sometimes they are a little bit loud. So I was thinking about attaching a microphone to every of these locks, which is in the wall, not recording really the audio, but feeding this to an algorithm or maybe even AI to determine, is this now a sound in the whole floor? Is it only a group checking in, or is it really a group of children doing hard party in the room?
That is an innovation for itself.
Yes, and GDPR, so data protection guidelines, I have also to keep in mind in Europe, so it will be hard to implement this.
But amazing to see that there's always more ideas and innovation ahead. Are there any further questions from the audience or from the panel, from the judges, or also from you guys who've been presenting your projects? I take the silence as a no. So perfect. So I would say that let's call it a wrap. Thank you very much for Vasily, Alex, Stefan, and everyone behind the scenes at Apaleo and Limehome, but also the sponsors for organizing this hackathon. It's been a great pleasure for myself to be moderating today and to get to know all these projects. And yeah, to the audience, please reach out to everybody via LinkedIn or email, or go also on DEVrupt-hospitality.com and sign up to the announcement newsletter, so you're keeping in the loop in case there's, for the next hackathon, if you want to participate or just maybe help as a mentor, be a sponsor, etc. So there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff happening. And yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and all the best from me.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.